Hey, what's up everybody, Isaac here, coming to you with a New World video, and today we're going to talk about Lazarus M10, how to get gold. A lot of people have been struggling with it. Unfortunately, I started the video late, like I have a bad habit of doing, but basically the first part, what we do, we run to the first mobs and the boss. We shockwave them with a taunt, and then we stack on the archer. Slowly pull them through, and gotta grab that node because we all know we gotta farm now when we are doing M10s. And we get to this first window and group up the mobs. What you're gonna want to do, you want to get the waves going as fast as you can. You don't want to wait until everything is killed before you're pulling new mobs. So they could have been pulled already the next wave, but now here they come. So I shockwave them. My shockwaves got rend, so it rends them for the other team. And then I pull out my shield just to, try and hold the aggro nice, and then back to the hammer a few times, putting out some good DPS. You can see when I'm doing my heavy attack, especially after I got the rend added, I'm hitting 6-7k, so doing some very nice damage for being a tank. So what I like to do is kind of back into a corner and get the aggro of the mobs, and it bunches them up really nicely. So I got Sundering Shockwave, so I add rend every time I use Shockwave. And of course I got the other ability that adds rend on my hammer. So try to kill the first window as fast as you can. We get back here. Luckily we got one of our DPS or two with some whirlwinds that can help gather the mobs up nice and easy when they get spread out. So unfortunately that Reaver got one of our DPS, but them things are kind of buggers. So finally getting things back set up like we like to have it. Right at the window. I didn't get over here quite fast enough on the last one, but we got it taken care of. We had a good squad, some good DPS, good healer that could cover the backs when things got out of control. I'm running the greater rune of detonate. You take more damage while it's loading up, but it does some good damage. So you group up the mobs, you set it off, and you get a nice big bang for 6-7k. Definitely, in my opinion, the way to go. A lot of people are saying that no, you got to use the one that roots the enemy, maybe it adds a weaken and stuff, but I like the big bang. Do lots of damage, help clear things out faster. So you want to burn through this room as fast as possible, but you can't be closing the window too soon, otherwise the mobs disappear and you will not reach the kill count. So it's pretty picky. You cannot skip very many mobs or you're not gonna gold, because you're not gonna meet the mob count, and you can't get gold without meeting the mob count. So you gotta clear this room, you gotta grab that little node, like one of our teammates already got it, but just trying to gather everything up and pull out our hammer, do as much DPS as you can. As you can see, we're hitting for some nice 7k damages there. Not bad for a tank, right? So you gotta keep trucking along, you gotta move fast, you gotta be efficient. So I make sure I grab aggro of these bottom mobs first, and then I try and get the aggro of the archer, just so hopefully he shoots me and not anybody else. Really important here, obviously, that somebody's peeling for the healer, that no mobs are getting caught up on the heals. So just bang this guy down as fast as you can. One thing you can do is start dragging him down to the bottom, but if you can, kill him right here, but a lot of times I will drag him down to the bottom. Careful not to fall off edge. And he has kind of a pain. He was in a bad spot. We couldn't DPS him as fast as we'd like where he was. But we get her done. Probably would have been faster if we would have just drug him along to the next mobs, which is what I do sometimes. But it depends if you're feeling like you're falling behind. you need to save some time, then you gotta get a little more aggressive. So ideally, I like to get in front of the team, and I like to pull everything to that archer, but just the way things worked out, I got caught up on these mobs, so we let our DPS go in and take care of that archer while we keep the rest of these guys occupied. And then we all stack up and kill these guys. Like I said, ideally we drag everything.
Come in there on the archer. I just got stuck on these guys.
Like you can hear me talking to my teammates right there.
That's why you got a bruiser, man.
But yeah, we had a good squad, so somebody messes up a little bit, we always had somebody else that could pick up and recover for them. So just DPS away, adding rend whenever I can with my shockwave and with my armor penetration ability. So here I just run right through. Hopefully your DPS doesn't steal aggro and start trying to kill those mobs up top. Sometimes like they'll do, but you know, if they do it right, they're not gonna touch them. They're gonna let everything group up first, so you don't have to waste any abilities. Get down, tag one archer, then go stack on the next, just to make sure the archers are shooting you and not the healer.
Someone go to Scylla.
And one thing that you want to do is you want to have somebody getting over to Scylla and getting the next mob started. So we definitely could have saved 20-30 seconds here if they would have got going over there faster, but we still managed to get the job done. You know, we didn't wait until the last mob was completely killed, which, yeah, big no-no there. You're gonna lose a good minute. So, gotta clean up these mobs here. And the next thing we're gonna do is, when we move up towards the boss, some people like to pull everything off to the right, but to me that just takes up a little extra time than necessary. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna try and pull the first two mobs and kill them, and then we'll go all in on the boss. Killing the ads first while I kind of try to take as much aggro as I can. So yeah, these first couple of guys, I try to taunt them down if I can. You know, sometimes the next run which we did, our healer grabbed their aggro and dragged them down to us a lot sooner, which is better. It's gonna save you some time. But maybe I'll play you that run too. That run got kind of hectic. We had some screw ups early on and had to get a little bit aggressive, and things got a little bit hectic, but we still managed to pull off the gold. So I run up and I hit him with my shockwave, which is my nice aggro, and it also adds rend. So hopefully everything's only going to be attacking me. So you want to burn down the mob as fast as you can. So you can see there our healer did end up going down. Does get a little bit messy here. So, but like I said, we had a good squad. Somebody makes a mistake, you know, maybe that was my mistake for not getting as much aggro as I should have. But then obviously once the healer was down, I got myself into trouble before I could get healed up. But like I said, we had a darn good squad. You know, looking pretty dim, but if they get me back up, I can grab the aggro. And we're right back on the road to getting things done. Get a nice taunt on a couple of the mobs, trying to pull them away from our teammate, so the rest of our teammates can get them back up. So yeah, things got a little bit hairy here, a little more hairier than need be, but you do have to be aggressive. You gotta be able to survive. You gotta be able to pull through one way or another. You gotta push through. Gotta have good DPS. And you gotta just keep burning, or you won't reach time. So that's one of the things that a lot of people end up doing. They try to, you know, you're gonna have to take a little bit of chances. You gotta be able to survive. That's why hammers are so good. You constantly CCing them, and they can't do damage to you when they're laying on the ground or when they're stunned. So we just hit this guy with a little weaken. Make sure he's after me. We're trying to make sure everything's shooting me. We don't want them to take out our healer or anything. And one thing that you want to do, have the healer or DPS, somebody wants to cleanse right away to make sure the next stage of the fight gets started, so you're ready to start pulling in the other mobs. You know, sometimes the healer, he'll start shooting the mobs and pulling them back into this corner, but whatever, sometimes it's just you end up going up to the front and killing them up there. Either way can work, but see, you can see there we're hitting for 7k. Pretty nice hits for a tank. So the more damage your tank can do, the easier you're gonna clear. So in my opinion, the hammer is still the way to go in here. It still does more damage than that greatsword. They got weakness to the hammer, and I tried greatsword. I watched some other people using greatsword, you know, like a tank with 300 strength, and you know, they did well. They cleared it with gold, but they were, you know, instead of like 6 to 8k hits, they were doing like 2 to 3k hits. So pretty big difference, but still, as long as you have good enough DPS. The greatsword, it does add rend, but also I'm adding rend. I got 2 abilities that are adding rend, so if you're a tank and you can be adding rend and doing heavy DPS at the same time, you're gonna help your team out a whole heck of a lot. So obviously one good thing about the hammer is you got the shockwave, and you got the other knockdown, and we got the ability that just basically adds rend. So make sure we run and grab the shrine, and at this point we're gonna switch to our hatchet. You gotta wait until your cooldown comes off so you can switch it, and I like to go sword and board hatchet here. Hatchet for the life save, and then you're gonna see somebody else is gonna start the fight. Well, I respect. 300 con, just to play it a little bit safer. I'm gonna be the tank here. DPS is gonna be the DPS, and the healer is gonna be the healer. Crazy thought, but so I got the leadership perk on my sword and shield. So anytime I have my sword and shield out, our teammates are gonna do 10% extra damage. See, she almost got me in a tough spot there, but that's why I like the hatchet. You get in a tough spot, you pull out the hatchet, and if your death defy hasn't gone off yet, you're good to go. So another thing that I'm trying to do is I'm timing my ward potions. I ain't gonna lie, I'm not as good at this boss as some other tanks I've seen do it, but I haven't been practicing it tons. So we got it up to 18 stacks. I've seen some go to like 25, but the reality of it is, why go to 25 if you don't need to?
That dodged too many times.
Because the reality of it is, if you go to 15 stacks and you have good DPS, you can still kill her before she starts doing her mechanics. So there's no need to play it stupid if you got good DPS. Why try to prove something by going to 25 and then tank gets knocked and you start taking some chances? So take it to 15 to 20. As long as you have good DPS, you're gonna be fine. So if you're taking it to 15 stacks and you cannot clear it, your DPS isn't DPS-y enough. So you can see we're gonna use our skills at weaken whenever we can. Got my hatchet out. Trying to buy time until I can pop my ward potion. Using my weaken skill. Throw my hatchet at her and it weakens her. So we got her to 17 stacks, 18 stacks, nothing crazy, but see, we're trying to time our ward portion. You can see it's on countdown again, counting down. It's the number 6 key on the bottom right hand screen. So whenever she starts getting close to 10 to 15 stacks, I try to pop that ward potion to mitigate some of the damage. And I'm trying to DPS away whenever I can. I'm not doing crazy DPS, but every little bit helps. And I got my detonate, so that's an extra nice 7k bang right there. You know, I'm trying to be careful not to use it when she's stacked up, because the one I'm using, you take extra damage while it's charging. So,
Nice.
You can see right there, we didn't get crazy, we didn't go to 25 stacks, and we still killed her before she had a chance to go through any mechanics. And we get to this chamber room, and I'm gonna go into the middle. I'm gonna switch to my hammer, mostly because of the CC. You're alone against 4 different mobs, so if you CC them with their hammer, they can't hurt you while they're CC'd. So if I had the time, I would switch back to 300 strength, 210 con, but I just don't want to waste the time, and you're gonna see I still do pretty darn good damage. And so what we're trying to do here is we're gonna try to CC them. We're gonna try to keep doing damage, but sometimes you get healers that don't drop heals on you, and honestly, I can survive it without any heals, but you just gotta play it more passively, where if they drop heals on you, you can get aggressive and you can start making some progress. You can kill a few of the mobs. So kind of the name of the game. You got CCs, use them to buy you time. If you start getting low on health, CC them and run away while they're sitting there stunned to recover. But our healer's dropping us some nice heals, so we're gonna try to be as aggressive as we can. Yeah, it's kind of RNG as far as what mobs you get. It's super annoying if you get 3 archers like I've gotten before. So you're getting shot at by 3 different archers, draining your stamina. Doable, but it's a pain. So you gotta love having that detonate. Set it off, pull out your sword and shield, block, and you're still gonna do damage. A nice 7k bang or so while you're blocking. Nothing wrong with that. So at this point we've gotten one of the mobs down, we're getting another one close. You know, you want to kill the mobs, but your main thing is you're here to survive. The guys on the top and the guys on the bottom, they have less mobs to deal with, but they're not the tank, so you're trying to survive until your teammates can come through and finish off the rest of the mobs. And you gotta make sure you kill every single one of these. You can't be running away and leaving them behind like the good old days when we used to do, because you don't get enough mob kills to get the extra multiplier. You don't get the extra multiplier, you do not get gold. So we're moving right along. And we got another resource node on the left that
Go
somebody
right
has to
in,
grab.
stack on the archer.
And just making a little call out to my teammate that we're gonna go right in. Sometimes people like to call them out, but you can't really afford that time. Go right in, stack on the archer. So I give her a good old shockwave to make sure that I have the aggro, because that's my taunt. And it also adds rend, so the other guys can start doing some damage. Trying to make sure that none of the mobs are getting to the healer. Trying to make sure that the sword and or the spear guy is gonna attack me and not the healer. So, but the main thing is to keep focusing in on the archer, because the melee guy is gonna come to the range, but the range isn't gonna come to the melee. So I'm not sure, is it when you kill the archer that's when you can open the door? So it's good if you can have one of your teammates get to the door and start opening it as soon as possible. I think that's one thing we failed to do here. Could have saved us an extra 15 to 30 seconds. Probably 15 seconds or so. But you can see I'm checking the mob count. I don't think we cleared it by much. Did we get the exact count, or maybe a couple over? So this is the hallway that people run through, but you gotta make sure you get every single kill. You can see I just whiffed completely, hoping that I could get the aggro on both of them, but instead I missed all of them. So just gather up and kill these little mobs. They go down fast, so just kill them. Don't run past them. Get them down. You can't afford to miss those mob kills. Someone's got a farm, and then you keep moving along. So I make sure I give this guy a little bump so he aggroes me. That way our teammates can farm that node. Try to give that guy a little shockwave back there, and then we just come and all stack on this archer. You don't want to pull it all the way to the far hallway. You can get away with it, but it just takes too long. This stacking on the archer right here is the way to go. Kill everything nice and quick, and move right along. Constantly against the clock on this run, so you can't be wasting time anywhere. Someone's got to get the node. And I give that guy a good knock to make sure he comes after me, not the healer. And same thing with this guy. And with the boss. And then I try to drag it all to the archer. Group it all up. That's the name of the game, is the tank, but that doesn't mean you can't output some good DPS at the same time. As you can see, we're hitting for anywhere from 5 to 7k. On our abilities we only hit like 2 to 3k, but when we pull out the heavy attacks, see our ultimate ability just hit for 9k there. So that's why I love that thing. Everyone's swearing by the root thing, but I think the detonate's the way to go, especially as a tank or a DPS. You group up some mobs and you get a nice big bang of 6 to 9k. You can't beat it. So, name of the game, we're constantly trying to gather troops up as best we can. Obviously there's a few situations where you get a couple of archers and you can't always group them together. But anytime you can, you're going to see I'm going to try to get a tag on one mob, and hopefully it chases me over to the other mob. So I shockwave, try to get that guy's aggro, then I hit this one. So you can see I've managed to get both the Javelineers, which can be very tough to group up because sometimes they like to hang back and just throw javelins at you. But whenever you can group them up and kill them faster, you need to save that time. And once again, you're gonna see I'm gonna try and get a hit off on every single mob here. Make sure that they're focusing me. And you know, our teammates mowed down the one archer, and then I'm gonna stack on the other archer. Using my utility, adding as much rend as I can, using my knockdowns. When they're knocked down, they can't hurt our teammates. And then I DPS away. You can see he's getting those nice 6k hits. Obviously, some of the heavier armored mobs, your heavy attacks, you're only going to hit 6k, but you can see some of the lighter ones, I'll hit 7k. So we're right about almost 25 minutes coming up to this second to last boss. Kind of a mini boss, I guess, before we get to the main show where it's all on the line. Gotta beat him down before 30 minutes is up. So name of the game, just take this guy out as fast as you can. Apply Rend with the shockwave and heavy attack away. And you can see my hits aren't going quite as hard. One, he's probably got a little extra armor, but two, I don't have my strength up. Didn't take the time to change it, but that's okay because we got some DPS that's able to do that for us. So I'm going to run to the corner. I'm going to let somebody else start the instance, and I'm going to crank my strength up all the way. All strength. That's all you need here. Do as much DPS as you can. Obviously, you try
I
to
think
break
it's
this.
faster to burn without waiting at the sea.
So yeah, just trying to call out to
If
my
we have enough
teammates.
DPS.
Trying to call out to my teammates not to stop DPSing. Some people like to stop and wait a minute for you to get an extra chance to do heavy damage. But the problem is, if you're sitting there not DPSing, well, you're not DPSing, so it tends to be faster if you have strong enough DPS not to do that little trick where you stop and give yourself a second go around at the weakened state of the boss. So instead of doing that, just DPS him right down. If you have the DPS that you need to have for this boss, just burn him. And if you don't have that kind of DPS, chances are you're not going to clear in the first place. We probably would have been just fine either way. It's probably not a big difference in time whether you give it the second round, but you can see we're already, right now, this is where you would stop DPSing, and so we just came off of the first round, and if we stop
Burn,
DPSing
baby,
right
burn.
there, just making that call to my teammates that, yeah, we're just DPSing. You got a couple of them that ran away, thinking we're gonna stop
Burn away,
DPSing.
don't stop.
But why would we do that? Because you're gonna have to sit there and wait for a minute instead of just killing them. You know, that time that we would have spent waiting, you know, he's dead already. So if you got the kind of DPS that you need to clear this dungeon, don't bother waiting for the second wave. Just DPS them down, call it a day, get that gold. At the end of the day, it's probably a close race either way, because you wait that minute and then you kill him just about instantly because he goes into the weakened state. But either way, you can see 2808, we got that gold with a minute
Nice.
52 to spare. You know, you gotta give out your GGs. So let's see this time card. Clear time 2809, even though it said 2808. Gatherables 10 out of 10. Enemies killed 102 out of 100. Respawns 1 respawn. So basically a perfect run minus the respawn. But more than enough to get the job done. So there you got it, guys. If you've been struggling with your Lazarus runs, that's what you need. You need heavy DPS. Hopefully a tank that can put out some good DPS to help along the way.
Put my
Obviously,
gear on before I loot.
you need a healer that kind of knows what they're doing, that can take care of the waves properly.
Does anything?
What's that? You said someone confirmed it doesn't work?
Said, has anyone confirmed that actually does anything for in? Because luck was taken out of in-game or in dungeon chests a while ago.
Oh, really? I don't know. I've just been doing it. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they just say, okay, you're M10, you're going to get what you're going to get. But I don't know. I'm doing it.
So I've been switching out.
But
luck
it
here.
probably doesn't make difference. Sometimes you get 1 gold. Sometimes you get 3-4 golds regardless of what you do, like from these final chests.
Before I open these chests, but we're discussing whether or not it helps, whether or not luck gear works on these chests. I don't know. I just do it just in case. Never will really know whether or not you would have got that extra gold without the luck gear, so I just put it on. Didn't really get any crazy good loot from these runs, unfortunately, but we probably got some stuff that will sell for a few K anyways, so maybe a thing or two I can play with. A lot of stuff to salvage. But
2 from the chest so far.
we got some good umbral
3.
shards. 600 from the gold. And it's kind of weird how some of these
And an
chests
empty chest.
appear to not give anything, whether or not maybe they give you something, but that's pretty sus.
4
You open a
gold, grab the
and
chest.
nothing. So I think I ended up with like 4 to 5 pieces of gold from this run. Nothing too crazy, but this one would have been nice other than the ruinous. And honestly, I don't even know what ruinous means exactly. Extra siege damage, does that mean damage to the artillery, or what does that mean? If you happen to know, leave a comment below, because that's something I never looked into. I don't know exactly what that means. But anyways, that's going to do it for this video, and I appreciate it checking it out. And let me know if you want me to go more in depth, like with a tanking guide or my build, what I'm using. But I hope you have a good one.